That's it, I'm turning back. I know your family's waiting. I know it's an important day. That's the spirit. You'll be celebrating Life Day before you know it. Stand by. Here's where we say goodbye to our unpleasant friends.
The Star Wars Holiday Special.
On the evening of November 17th, 1978, Star Wars fans were eagerly awaiting the next installment of the Star Wars saga with the Star Wars Holiday Special.
We are very excited to have the director of that special, Steve Binder, with us today as we celebrate the 38th anniversary of the first time we met Chewbacca's family, Boba Fett, and nighttime adult Wookiee entertainment.
I'm getting your message. Are you getting mine?
Steve Binder is also the author of Fade Up 26, The Movers and Shakers of Variety Television.
Hey, Steve.
Thanks for asking me to be on your show. It sounds like we're going to have some fun in the next few minutes.
Oh,
Yes.
You better believe it. I've been waiting to talk to you since, November 17th, 1978.
And I wasn't around then, but I'm excited to talk to you too and see what you
Great,
guys
Sarah.
come up with.
Yeah, and we have always been big supporters of the Star Wars Holiday Special over here at Skywalking Through Neverland, and every year we make it a ritual to watch it and celebrate its one-time airing. Do you think CBS was really hoping that fans would think this was Star Wars 2?
Well, I can't get into their heads, but it was definitely a mistake. I mean, if there was any criticism of it, they were saying, why was Diane Carroll and Harvey Korman and Jefferson Starship and so forth, what were they doing on a planet with a Chewbacca family, and Art Carney and so forth. But as a variety show, I had no fault in it. I thought it was pretty well executed, and as you say, aside from you guys, I get tons of inquiries about the special, since I understood that Lucas tried to buy the master and get it off the market forever after he realized what had happened. But he wrote the script, and he was totally involved before. I never met George Lucas. To this day, I've never met George Lucas.
Oh, so you never got any notes from him during production?
Nothing. I just went in, and I had a full schedule every day. We set up, and we met our schedule, and had fun doing it. And, so it was really a case of what they set out to accomplish, I felt we accomplished. It was really a case of taking each scene one at a time, and some of them were pretty complicated, and making it happen with the, within budget and on schedule. So I couldn't ask for anything more as a director. And as I said, I love the people I worked with. I love the crew.
Lumpy. Itchy. Chewy. Nala. This day is for you.
When you're doing drama, and this had a lot of drama connected to it, obviously, it had a really strong storyline. It's a case of where you're really directing not the words on a page, you're directing the inner dialogue, and to translate that and make these characters come to life for our special was a challenge not only for myself, but for the actors themselves. And I thought they did a wonderful job. I mean, all of them. And it because it was variety, and it was really aimed at a variety audience and children and everything, for us to translate that into the home, we had to have a lot of fun on the set ourselves, and I think we did.
I'm sure you had to keep the entertainment and the humor going, just trying to figure out what was really going on there. Now, when you walked in there, did you ask them, so now why is this a variety show?
No, I was told it was a CBS television special aimed at kids, and that's all I was given the information of until I received the script and started laying it out and preparing the various shots and so forth. And it was a multiple camera show. That was one of the big problems, because you had to have 2 or 3 cameras in the set at all times to be able to pick up various shots and so forth. So it needed a lot of flexibility, and it needed and everybody on that staff was a pro. I mean, I'd worked with most of them from the television world on previous shows and specials, and they were creme de la creme. I mean, they were the best people, I felt, certainly on the West Coast, that do these kinds of shows.
Sure. And even when Mark Hamill was asked by George Lucas to do this, and he gave Mark Hamill the rundown, Mark said, "Nothing about this is Star Wars, George. Are you sure you want to go through with this?"
Yeah, and I think George's motivation, he took a big gamble on making the Star Wars movie. From what I understand, 20th Century Fox initially rejected the movie before it even went into theaters, and told George they didn't want to put up any additional monies even to finish the movie. And that's how George finagled getting all the toy rights and the ancillary merchandising rights, because he said, then I'll come up with the money myself, but you got to give me all these rights. Well, that decision by George, was unbelievable, because I'm sure in the long run, he made a lot more money himself than 20th Century Fox did just distributing the movie.
Yeah.
Oh, just selling Darth Vader toys, he made more money than what he made off the movie itself.
Exactly.
So he made a great decision there. Now, do you recall what scenes you directed, and which scene was your favorite?
Well, the only ones that I didn't do, which I wish I did do, was the bar scene. Obviously, I had nothing to do with the animation segment, but the rest of them took place, and we had all these costumes that made it really difficult for the stunt people to actually see when I asked them to run downstairs and do physical stunts and so forth. But, as I say, it all came together. I mean, I have edited all of my shows from the day I started directing, and this is the only show I can say that, unfortunately, I was not able to pitch in and do the post-production on it and edit it and everything, because I might have gone a different direction, because, as we all know, editing is key to any production. You can make or break any show by the editing itself, and I understand that the producers ended up having that task, and I understand they had never really edited anything previous to that.
If you were able to go in there and edit it, how would you have made it different? Would you have cut out some of the musical numbers?
No, absolutely not. I think they were, as a variety show, they were the strength of the show. I mean, Diane Carroll, I had worked with and admired her, and there was another case where we had no money for scenery when we shot Diane, but she did a terrific job. And so the variety elements of the show, I did not do the Starship, and I thought, I actually thought the original director did a pretty fair job in the segments that he did do. I think he ran into more of a problem of budget than anything else, that he was not used to multiple camera directing, from what I understand. And, television is all about time and budget. I mean, if you can't get your scene shot in time, you'll have a tough time getting your next job, and it's not like making a movie where you can do, if you have to, 10, 20 takes or whatever. This, you've got to take 2 takes and move on. I mean, that's
right.
The way it has to be in order to finish the project.
How was the Star Wars cast with doing this? Did they have a good time on the set? Mark Hamill, Harrison Ford?
They were mostly, I kind of remember a lot of the conversations were revolving about them, because Star Wars, the movie, was such a huge international hit. Motion picture and still is. I mean, it's iconic. They were all concerned about, because most of them had done the movie for minimum wages, and we're all wondering, because of this huge success, were they ever going to get any percentage points in the profits? And sure enough, George turned out and gave some of them small pieces of the film in as far as the economical structure of the show and so forth, which is very rare in this business. Usually after the fact, whatever deals you made, you have to kind of live with.
Yeah.
But I think he went out of his way to please his cast.
Oh, he did. He gave 0.25% to Mark Hamill, Harrison Ford, and Carrie Fisher, and they made more off of that percentage than they did what they had made off of their salary.
Wow.
And gave Alec Guinness 0.75%.
Wow.
Yeah,
And-
I mean that's very generous from any producer, and I admire that, and feel exactly the same way. I mean, everybody thinks that everybody in the film industry, if their names are recognizable and so forth, they're making a ton of money and they're living the high life. The truth is they're not.
No.
I mean, there are people working in this entertainment business who earn less than secretaries at a bank, but they love the business so much they sacrifice the material for the aesthetic, and I really appreciate that.
How were the guest stars?
Harrison was very congenial, and in fact, I remember running into him maybe a year after I shot it, and he remembered me and knew my name, and we had a nice conversation, and so and I just sensed, without question, his career would really take off from that.
A lot of reviewers will say that Harrison Ford just looks so angry and frustrated throughout every scene in the holiday special, but I don't see that. I see him being in the moment and being Han Solo that we just saw in Star Wars. I don't see a frustrated actor.
I agree with you, and if he came off looking angry, that was my fault, not his.
Well, I think that's just
he
Han
certainly
Solo.
didn't play it for that, and we had a lot of fun shooting it, and he was very, very congenial and happy all the way through it, to my knowledge.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's cool.
every scene he just looked like he was so in the moment. So I never understood what these reviewers were talking about, but who cares about them?
Well, the truth of the matter is, when you're directing, and I'm not out there to please. I hate to say this, but it's true. I'm not out there to please millions of people. I mean, I'm focused on, I want to please me. I want to get the job done the best way I can do it. I feel if I'm happy with a scene, there's got to be a lot of people like me out there who feel the same way. So, from the beginning of my career to even now, I just put everything I've got into any production that I do and hope for the best when it comes to, when it airs, it's out of your hands. I mean, it's in the publicity department and the promotion department and the time slot you're in if you're in television and so forth. So you have very little control. If you're the show following the Academy Award broadcast, you're going to end up with a successful show with big ratings, et cetera. Afterwards, it may have nothing to do with the quality of the show.
Right. Yeah. If
and
you're
vice versa.
If you're trying to please 1 million people, your head will explode. It's never going to happen. If any of the listeners out there are Skywalkers, they want to reach out to you and talk to you on social media. Is there a place they can contact you?
I think if they contact me through Jeff Abraham, who's my dear friend and publicist, I think he could figure it all out. I don't say I'm retired yet. I'm still holding out on that, but I think you've got to wake up every morning having a goal and a purpose, and I think that's what life's all about. And I'm just about open to anything as long as it has a positive message. I'm an optimist. I always have been. I see the glass as half filled rather than half empty.
Well, it
Wow.
doesn't sound like you're slowing down at all.
Yeah, you're definitely perfect for this show.
All right, Steve. Well, thank you very much for being on Skywalking Through Neverland and sharing these stories I've wanted to hear for almost 4 decades now.
Well, I'm glad I was able to connect with you, and it's been a lot of fun talking to you and your wife, for sure.
Well, thank you. And a big shout out to your friend and publicist, Jeff, for making this happen.
Thank you. Appreciate it.